This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hey there, it's Michelle, and I want to help you to live an epic story lifestyle. So, I'd like for you to do me a favor. Go over to epicstorylifestyle.com/live life to grab a free copy of my Hacks for Living an Epic Story Lifestyle checklist. Thanks.
You are listening to another edition of Epic Story Lifestyle. Welcome back. Here is your hostess with the mostest, Michelle Spiva.
Hey, how you doing, JR?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here with you, and I'm wondering what you've got in store for us today.
Well, I've got a little bit, I'm not going to say it's tough love, but I have a little bit of, I called it the art, but I don't know if it's the art as much as it's one of those just, let's just talk for real kind of situations. I am going to be talking about the art of being self-employed.
Okay, all right.
That is what
tough love, though? You got some tough love for us today? I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, a little bit. And the reason why I say that is because I'm doing this show mainly because of interactions I've been having with some people that don't want to be self-employed, but that is the way of life for right now, where we are. I've been self-employed, and you're self-employed, and I've been self-employed for a number of years, and it sucks at first. Let's just be honest. It is hard at first.
It's the dream.
Huh?
It's a dream. Everybody has a dream of being self-employed, don't they?
Yeah, they have the dream, but dreams and reality can be quite juxtaposed. So, it's something because I remember when I was working for someone, I had this stint where I was in human resources, and then that turned into, for that particular industry, a lot of closings of large established companies, and they brought in these exit companies to help employees transition out. And I'll never forget, they gave them these stages of grieving for losing a job. And one of them was like, it said it will feel like you are withdrawing from hard illegal drugs. And JR, it is true. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've had opportunity back then, and of course all the time now, where I deal with people that contact me and they are having major withdrawals. And these withdrawals are called the 1st, the 15th, and the 30th, if you will, of when they were used to getting paid. And I'm going to tell you, if you really, really, really want to feel the dream of being self-employed, and you're used to getting paid on the 1st and the 15th, wait until you are self-employed and there is no direct deposit coming.
Surprise!
Surprise! So I'm really going to be talking about, and I said I would be doing a little tough love. I don't know if it's really tough love as much as it's insight from the self-employed who've lived to tell about it. And you probably have some insight as well. And that is about framing, how you frame your situation, your outlook, and all of that. And the way I want to set this up is that you are your greatest knight in shining armor. You are your greatest superhero. You are your greatest asset and resource. And with that, the art of being self-employed is to remember that first and foremost. And I say that from personal experience. The first 4 years I was self-employed, when something would go wrong, I would immediately have this knee-jerk thought pattern. Oh my God, who's going to help me? How am I going to get out of this? Do you understand what I'm saying, JR?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was debilitating because the answer in my mind will always be Nobody. You are on your own. You're going to die. You're going to lose your house. You're going to become the public spectacle. And it was really hard. I'll say that. It was really hard. And I don't know when or if I got an epiphany or if it was just an evolution because my brain just got tired of me being an idiot. But I finally realized that whenever I am in these situations, there is always somebody that's going to be there for me. And that person is me, my wisest self. The one thing that I will say about being artful in self-employment is to understand that you love your business, your dream, your passion, or should, more than anybody else on this earth. And therefore, if you love it more than anybody else on this earth, when the rock meets the hard spot, your wisest self, if you allow it, will show up to help you out of that situation. Einstein used to say things like, or was attributed with saying things like, and I'm paraphrasing here, the mind that created this problem is not the mind that's going to solve this problem. And that's important to note because as a self-employed person, we have issues and problems that happen every day. And that means that we get the opportunity. You notice I didn't say have to deal with. I said we get the opportunity to evolve and to grow into a new mind that can handle and face this situation. When I finally realized that my advocate was there for me in the guise of powerful, wise Michelle, who loves this company and loves me more than anybody else, and I allowed that part of me to come forward, it is amazing how catastrophes stopped happening. and how I was able to face, the next challenge and the next challenge. And I found that there was an interview from Sir Virgin guy, Branson.
Richard Branson.
And Richard, and he said something very similar. And he said, like I said, I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to put words in the man's mouth. But he said, when you finally realize that you're your most powerful resource, that's when your business will explode. From that day, I look at how I invest. My biggest percentage of investment is spent on me because I always outperform my expectations when I give myself an investment. And that investment is not just money for education. It is taking time when I need it. I know you don't believe it, but taking time when I need it to rest, taking time to stay on a healthy track so that I can continue to do what I do. And it is an amazing thing how strong, wise Michelle, who loves my company, Wise Mind Concepts and Media, always comes up with a way to help me do what I need to. The one thing is that, yes, it can be very scary. The other is I look back and I see how I have progressed from 9 years ago to where I am now. The house didn't get taken away, praise God. I don't know about you, JR, but I still know every single day of the month. That much I do. And that's one thing. You'll know a self-employed person because they are always aware of what date it is because they know when stuff is due. But I look at what I can handle now by way of what has to be produced and how I used to crumble at just a fraction of what had to be done just a few years ago. Michelle a few years ago could not live the life that Michelle today lives. And Michelle today will most certainly not be able to live the life that Michelle in a few years lives. And I love that because that is the art of being self-employed, that we are able and willing to constantly be evolving, changing, growing, and becoming so involved with who we are. One of the things that really it doesn't baffle me anymore, because I think at this particular time, I'm happy with saying this. So I have people that are ask me, how are you able to make yourself do the stuff you do, when there's nobody there to make you do it? Have you gotten that, JR?
Of course.
It baffles me. It used to baffle me. I'm like, because I like things like being able to eat and
Roof
and
over
have
my
a
head.
roof. Yeah. But then it occurred to me that they have not yet met their greatest advocate. They are still giving that job to someone else, aka a job. They still believe that their job can take better care of them than they can. They still believe and trust in the ability of the job to create increase for them more than they do themselves. And so for me, it is simply a slumbering, either an ignorance or an unaware, I don't want to say unawareness, but being unaware that the most powerful advocate and resource you have is you. My mom, when she was raising us, she used to say things like, I want you to understand that your choices and decisions should never cause anybody else to have to suffer or sacrifice. I used to think she was being mean. What I realized was that she was preparing me for a life of the business owner. Because if I make a situation or a circumstance or a choice or a decision, I am the one who, has to deal with it. Doesn't feel fair or fun all the time. And, she would get me if she heard me talking about fairness. But, it doesn't feel fun all the time. But it does help me to frame my mind that says there is a shining knight coming called Michelle. She is going to come to the rescue. Hasn't she rescued you before? Hasn't she shown up with wisdom to help you get out of something before? There's a pretty good chance she's going to do it again, because she loves your business and you like nobody else can. And I know it might sound funny, but this is one of the biggest things that I can give to people, because I see so many people that are marking time, treading water. Oh, I'm just treading this water until I can get to another job. Do you know those kind of people? Where even though all signs show that our economy has changed to a gig economy instead of an employment economy, they are still holding on to the last vestiges of a bygone era. And I want to tell them, poo-poos, babies, you are self-employed. You need to get into the art of it. You need to understand that you can take care of yourself better than anybody else, because you're going to love yourself and your passions more than anybody else will. And I know it's hard. Remember, I was talking about making transitions when you lose a job. It feels like you are going through withdrawals from meth, crack, infused with Oxycontin. It does, but but it doesn't last always. And the funny thing is if we look back historically, before the Great World Wars, everybody was self-employed for the most part. So how is it that everybody used to be self-employed and now nobody can be self-employed? Riddle me that. That makes no sense to me.
You know what that makes me think of, Michelle, and what happened to the middle class?
Yeah, exactly. And that it's to me, it's a clarion call, because we're not forced to deal with this. We get a choice to deal with it. You're only forced to deal with it if you refuse to go on and embrace that this is a new opportunity for you. If you can embrace it, it truly does become an opportunity. How many people that have a job can go into their boss and say, I've got an event coming up, and I'm going to need an extra $10,000 for that event. So can I have a raise for that? That's not going to work. But when you work for yourself and, a company or whatever, and you say, I got an event coming up, I'm going to need an extra $10,000 for that. Guess who's going to give you permission and support and help to do that? You. And you may not make the 10, but you could make 5, 6, 7, or 8. That is the power of taking what we do and being able to be free with it, because you will always outpace and outpay yourself above what any other company can. Now, am I telling you it's a bad thing to have a job? Of course not. Am I telling you that everybody is going to have to be an entrepreneur or business owner? Of course not. I am extremely grateful for those people who are employees. And you know what I do pray? I pray for those people who are natural employees to always have employment. But those who have the ability, the propensity, and the drive, desire, and dream to be an entrepreneur, I pray that you hear this and that you embrace it and understand that the art of self-employment is simply a reframing to understand that everything you need, you already have in the form of, guess what? You. So, like I said, I didn't want it to be tough love, but I just really kind of wanted to put that reframing on that. So what are your insights on that, JR? What would you say?
I find it highly interesting how well this ties into the episode before this, because when you talk about all you need is you, the part of you that's going to make those big changes is the creativity in you. And so this goes hand in hand with the episode on creating immortality.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, now one thing I will say, and I'm glad you brought that up, that I didn't get a chance to say in that episode, is that creativity can be very confounding. And it can be confounding because it's not normal for a lot of people to interact with it. And so it's hard to hit something on the head when you've never been introduced before. And so you have a lot of people that are downright scared of being creative because they've not honed that skill. And how many times have you had somebody say, I want my own business, but I don't know what to do?
Everybody says that.
Right. And that is because partly, it's a complex kind of thing. I hate to say it, but partly it's because the muscle of exhibiting creativity, I'm saying muscle because for me, creativity is not something that I own. It's something that flows through me. But the muscle of doling out creativity on a daily basis is one that has to be developed, just like if you were to go to a gym and develop a muscle. And therefore, it's a lot of people out there trying to go and bench press a car with what creative ability it will take to do what they want. And they can't even lift a 5-pound dumbbell over their head, so you have to kind of work up to it. And that is why I really kind of, I try to embrace those people that have gone through a lot of startups and tries to get their own business and, they failed. And I tell them, look, this is part of your gym experience. This is part of you just working up to what your real call is for your business. So what? I got this fortune cookie a long time ago, and I think I told you about it. And it had an impact on me, and it said, failure is the tuition you pay for success. And it always resonated with me. And so a lot of times when people say they don't know what they're doing, they try all these different things, they don't work out. Don't be upset. Don't tuck your tail and go back to your job saying you don't deserve to have your own business. You are simply paying your tuition for success by building the muscle of creativity and getting to the point where you can do the heavy lifting that it takes to do what you do. Because like I said before, Michelle, even just last year, cannot handle what Michelle this year does. And Michelle this year will most certainly not be able to handle what Michelle next year has to do. And so it is an evolutionary kind of thing. So, don't take yourself too seriously. But I do want to talk about me today.
All right.
So with that being said, with the whole thing of self-employment, unexpected things happen. I was just looking at, I had 2 big bills that have come due, thousands of dollars, and I have like days to create miracles. And it got me to thinking that, wow, I am not freaking out and losing a lot of sleep like I used to. this is just amazing. I'm just doing what I need to. I may or may not hit the goal, but at least I am not paralyzed where I can't even think straight, because that used to happen to me when I had a lot of overwhelming, especially financial pressure. I would just get paralyzed and frozen where I would want to do something, but I just couldn't because I was so overwhelmed, paralyzed, and frozen. And so I'm taking a personal little victory lap because that's not the case anymore. And I can know that I have this big weight on me. I can know that Wisdom Michelle is going to show up and help me out, and that it's going to work out. Now, this is the fun thing that I do want to say. Just when you think nobody is there, or just when you think it's just you and only you is going to help you, when you take that leap of faith to start to help yourself, it is amazing how other people, real people, not just you, will surprisingly show up and be able to help you. So ultimately, we're never really alone, and it's never going to be a situation where you're always just going to be on your own by yourself. But don't expect other people to rescue you. Be willing to rescue yourself, and then be thankful when others come and help tow the load too. So that's what I wanted to say today.
Good stuff, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you, listeners, for tuning in with us week in and week out. We appreciate you, and we will be back in your earbuds next week.
Yay!
Hey, Michelle here again. If you like today's show, remember to go to iTunes and in the search bar, type Epic Story Lifestyle. And when you see me, hit that subscribe button. If you really like today's show, hey, come on, do me a solid by giving a rating and a review. If you've got questions, comments, or even show topics you'd like to hear me cover in the future, tell me about them when you leave that wonderful review. All right, my time is up, and I thank you for yours. See you next time. Now go out, make some great decisions that give you that epic story lifestyle.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.